If you want to make $1 million a year, build a business that does $2 million, give $1 million away, and you'll be the happiest millionaire on the planet.
In today's world online, customers and everybody expect personalized support on every channel and in every way. They want it done right now. But the problem is most solutions out there don't allow that to happen. They're not delivering. So your customer service reps are struggling to stay productive. And your customers, honestly, just aren't as happy as they probably once were. Now's the time to change that. This is exactly why there's a new AI-powered service hub from HubSpot. The service hub actually allows you to bring this type of level of service and success together for the first time so you can deliver on the expectations that people are expecting. And actually, it's boosting revenue along the way. The reps that are using Service Hub from HubSpot right now are reporting 13 times faster to help them resolve tickets, and also it helps them close something like 42% more tickets per day. So that basically means that you're also retaining people at a much higher rate. They're saying more than 80%. Not only that, you're getting this full 360 view of your customers in this smart CRM that basically helps and supports you in the marketing, sales, and service delivery and success of your team, but also making the experience much better for your customer, which boosts your revenue and your business growth. Go and visit HubSpot.com/service to learn how this all new solution can help you deliver for your customers. Hey, do you ever feel like, as a business owner or one that's starting, you think all right, so I got into this game, or I'm in this game for freedom. It could be financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, freedom with your family, freedom with your cat. It really doesn't matter. You think of it's me. It's all about me. And it's got to be kind of selfish. That's why you probably got into the game. And then at this point, you reach this, and maybe you relate to this, you reach a point where you're like, okay, well, check. What do I do now? Why am I working so hard? Why do I have such a big team? Or why am I working with so many clients? And should I keep pushing, or should I chill out? Should I stop this? Should I shift? A lot of these things go in mind. Well, this is why I brought Randy Molland onto the podcast from Go Big to Give Big. And the guy completely reframed. And it's how you can layer in, or actually adopt, a giving ethos to your business and what you do, so it takes it away from that selfishness, and it's not that's a bad thing. It actually amplifies what you're doing, but adds a giving element to everything you're doing in business, so you can scale not only your business but your giving efforts. So now it becomes bigger than you, whatever you're up to. This is a game changer, and this was one of my happiest and favorite episodes I've done in a long time. You'll see why. It's actionable. It's going to switch on some light bulbs for you, and I hope that you follow along with it. Go give it a shot. Go listen. Enjoy. We're cutting into this thing. We had to hit record because good things were already coming out, and this is just how it goes when it's a great episode. So thanks for being here, for one. Got to give you a big thanks.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. So the first time we met was, a couple weeks ago. Justin Breen, shout out to you, Mr. Breen. Thank you. Connecting fellow visionaries around the world every day via LinkedIn and badass, really quick intros that work. So a quick shout out there. But then, we started already riffing, Randy, on the whole thing you do is showing businesses how to go big by giving big. It's implementing these really awesome giving strategies to enhance what they're doing, not only for their business, but for their customers, the journey, the life cycle of everything, the bigger, greater good of impact. And then we were just talking about kind of this pivotal point that even got you into the game of why this is so important. So without diving into all the details, I guess give us the quick overview of what we're talking about here, man. And
yeah, I'll give you the quick, what I call podcast intro, so people can get acquainted with me. I was 25 years old. I bought my first house. My mentor at the time, I was an electrician by trade, and my mentor said to me, Randy, in 25 years, when you pay this house off, you're going to be financially free. Most people retire after 60. You're going to retire at 50. Life's going to be amazing. And unfortunately, 2 weeks after I bought my first house, he passed away in a job site accident. And so I watched my best friend die at 42 years old, was the same guy that told me how great life was going to be when I was 50. So I did as any good millennial would do. I Googled how to make a ton of money and never work again. And I found real estate investing. And so I went all in on my real estate investing journey. and was driven by the fact that I wanted to retire by the time I was 30, because you never know when life is going to end. I was driven by money. I was driven by trying to just like grow the status that I wanted to have. And I did such a good job that by the time I was 28, I had a non-epileptic seizure and put myself in the hospital. I think we'll chat about that in a bit. But it was coming out of that where I realized that I kind of did a little exploring universe, God, whatever you want. And I said, look, I got the message retiring at 50 wasn't the option. And I got the message retiring at 30 wasn't the option. So what is my option? And the next quote I heard is the one that changed my life forever, that said, if you want to make $1 million a year, build a business that does 2 million, give $1 million away, and you'll be the happiest millionaire on the planet. And that's where it changed everything for me. I realized I wanted to become a 7-figure giver instead of a 7-figure earner. I thought, if I can give away 7 figures, I can help a lot more people. It would sure make me a lot happier. Yeah. And in order to do that, I have to make a lot more money along the way. So that's what started me out on this journey of wanting to do that. I had a real estate portfolio. We started donating $10 per door per month from the real estate portfolio. So our 10plex donated $100 a month, and 20plex donated $200 a month, and so on and so on. And as we continued to scale and grow, we just made a bigger impact. And that's when I realized the bigger we went, the more we could give. We need to go big to give big. And that's kind of what led me down this journey.
Dude, there's so many things I was quickly noting here, all the way from the quote that changed your life. I think I want to land on that first, because just that mental model, that's something that everyone can adopt in their own way. It might not be $1 million, maybe it's 500, maybe it's 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is. Break that down for us and repeat the quote again, so it's like locked in stone.
The quote was, if you want to make $1 million a year, build a business that does 2 million, give $1 million away, and you'll be the happiest millionaire on the planet. And why it was so special to me was because, it was such a simple concept. As visionaries, we really like to simplify things at times, and the simple stuff really sticks out. And I realized it was like, cool, if I only want $1 million, why don't I just build something that does 2 million? Right? It doesn't take that much more effort from everyone in the space that I talked to at the time. It was like, if you can get to 1 million, getting to 2 or 3 is actually not that much harder. It's the first million that's really hard. So I was like, if I could build something to 2 million, this is the question I asked, how good would I feel if I donated $1 million? And my whole body got shivers and chills. And I was like, that would make me feel so good. And then I thought about, how good would I feel if I had $1 million and I didn't get those same chills and shivers. And that's when I realized there was something in this of like, I'm more motivated by the impact that I can create than I am for my own wealth. And so this whole concept came to me, and I was supporting children in sports. And it was like, if I have the ability as an entrepreneur to go make as much money as I want and scale and grow a business, why shouldn't I have the duty and obligation to support somebody that couldn't? There's kids out there that can't play sports because their parents can't afford it. But here I am trying to make so much wealth because I wanted to feed my ego. As soon as I flipped that script and went, well, why don't I use that same ability that I have to go make money and the same excitement that I want to build businesses for, but do it for good and put those kids through sports that don't have the same opportunity as me? That's what drove me as an entrepreneur to want to build bigger, grow bigger, and scale bigger. When we take our self-greed out of it and put somebody else into those shoes and they rely on you or are dependent on you, now all of a sudden it's a whole different game.
Dude, it reframes everything. And it's not like you need to start a business from scratch and do everything over again to make this mental model shift. You can start it right now with wherever you're at, no matter the business model. Like, I love the real estate of donating per door, per real estate, or if it's, maybe it's whatever it is, like attach that kind of giving element.
That's my gift, bro. The gift that I was given in this world now is to be able to take any business anywhere in the world, add an impact initiative to it, and show them how they can make more money with it. So in turn, they can give more with it. So we can take any business. I have a podcast. I donate $10 for every 5-star review that I get. Now we've got a bunch of people giving us 5-star reviews because they want to help donate. So we say, like, do you want to do an act of kindness that takes you 2 minutes, costs you nothing, but helps kids get into sport? $10 from every 5-star review that comes and we donate it. Well, again, what is that doing? It's helping me promote and talk about what we're doing, but I feel really good. I'm actually genuinely trying to be like, hey, I want to do more good, and I can use my podcast to do that. And so I can take anything from any business, real estate agents to podcasters to I got a poker player that I work with that hired me because he just got second place at the World Series of Poker. And he's like, dude, I want to give more. I just don't know how. And so now we're helping a poker player add impact initiatives so that when he plays poker, he donates from every winnings that he gets. So
why not?
It's fun. We can take it anywhere. We can take it from any business anywhere and put it into their business and give them a whole different perspective of why they want to grow.
Dude, yes, it's perspective. And I want to go to, and maybe this is a little selfish, but it's a giving selfishness, is let's do that podcast thing you just said right here on this for my show. And let's shout out your show as well, just so they know where they're going, honestly.
Yeah, dude. So we donate $10 for every 5-star review that we get on the Go Big to Get Big podcast. And the reason that how we pitched that originally, it was originally like when you first launch a show, you want as many 5-star reviews as possible. You always want as many, but when you first launch, it's important. And so we'd tell people, do you want to do an act of kindness that takes 2 minutes of your time, costs you nothing, but can have a bigger impact on kids around you? And then we said, just go to our podcast, give a 5-star review, listen to a show, and then we'll donate $10. And at the end of the month, we tallied it up and we made the donation. I can't remember. I think we got something like 50 5-star reviews in our first launch of a podcast, which is pretty good. It's a good start. And so we donated $500 to charity, and it made me feel really good.
Heck yeah. So that same offer stands for this podcast, my podcast, Hustle and Flow Chart. So do exactly that. And that whole script that you just said, I'm going to probably start to model that in future episodes. And go do that on Randy's podcast too. I'm sure the offer stands over there.
Yeah, and I'll match the first $100 that you donate. So whatever you come through with the $10 5-star reviews, so it's that 10 5-star, the first 10 reviews, I'll match it for you so that anyone listening, if you go to the Hustle and Flow podcast, you get the 5-star review there. You'll donate $20 to whatever charity you want, Joe.
Ah, man, you rock, dude. Thank you. And that's just think about this now as the tactical, hat for anybody with the podcast. Think of I'm thinking YouTube, and you look at Mr. Beast. I mean, that guy, talk about giving, everything is backed of, he gives everything, which that's his model. And obviously he's putting that to growing awareness and doing his production, all that good stuff. But you got YouTube channels, go do it there. Think about for email subscribers, any kind of giveaway. I'm sure this same model that we just talked about can be applied. We'll go deeper, I'm sure.
It can be applied anywhere, man. If you're a coach, how can you give away, a portion of every session? If you're a financial advisor, is a big one we've been working with. Anywhere where you want to build relationship with clients and have them see your brand. We can get deeper into this, but there's a lot of statistics and numbers around why giving is actually the way that consumers want the world to go. They want to know how you're giving, where you're giving, what it looks like. They want that transparency and they want that trust. Whereas before we used to look at it as a bad thing of don't talk about what you give. Consumers now want to know. And if you don't talk about it, they're less likely to buy from you. So we have to talk about it in a positive manner. And that's where we've really found our niche, is helping companies create some of that marketing and messaging that attracts the right people to them and makes their audience feel more trusted than not.
Well, let's do that, because what I want to do is I want to get into the why and why that's so important, so it locks in. And I just want to go back for a second and back to that whole ego thing of hey, I'm going to build wealth for myself. I feel like it's the most obvious thing that people think about when they're getting into business themselves. It's freedom, whatever kind of freedom looks like to them. Money is probably the biggest part of it. It could be time, location, all these things. But then, you reach a point, it's whatever peak that you reach or whatever label you want to call it. It's not going to make you more happy. And everybody's heard this, money doesn't make more happy. It might make things easier, and that's the truth. But at the same time, is it motivating ego wise now? It's that whole flip. So that's where this giving that you mentioned, because I've done other giving in other ways, and fostered for a good 6 kids. And, after or before I had my own. And it made me realize exactly what you said. Not everyone's given the opportunities, location, circle of network. Even if you're starting a business and doing all the things that we're talking about here, there's still luck. There's still the people, the location. And obviously hard work is everything. But the whole giving aspect. So I guess I just wanted to lock that in as something to think about, is check yourself a little bit and see what are you doing it for? that
Totally.
switch.
I think everyone's motivated by different things, and money was what motivated me to get here, and it motivates a lot of people, right? When the pain gets so bad, that's when someone will make a change, and usually the pain is the financial crisis. They get to a point where like I can't handle being broke anymore. And so they need to make more money. But when you start chasing money, you realize that it doesn't bring you more happiness. There's no direct correlation to the more money you have, the more happiness you have. Now, that being said, there's direct correlation to the stress levels dropping, right? When we can lower our stress levels because we make more money, that makes us feel a lot better. But it doesn't make you happier. What does make you happier is how you spend those extra dollars. How you spend those dollars is how you can, I believe, buy happiness. Where when I went to Mexico and spent some time at an orphanage with children that have been sex trafficked, and you're seeing these girls that are 6 to 15 years old that have been abused by a bunch of people, and you ask the host and say, how can we make these girls the happiest they've ever been? He says, just buy them some ice cream. And we spent $50. We bought some ice cream and watched those girls laugh and be the happiest they'd been in a while. And it only cost us $50, that's when you start to realize, man, it's not about making more money. It's about what you do with that money. That if I can make those kids happy that have been through some of the worst things in the world by some of the most criminal people on the planet, and it only cost me $50 to make them smile, I'm not going to fix their problem. But man, I can alleviate some of their pain for a few moments. That makes me happy. And money bought that ice cream. So the more money I can make, the more kids I can help. That just gets rid of your ego pretty quickly when you start saying, hey, I need more money to survive and do good. Everyone should chase more finances. I 100% agree with that. But it's just, where are you using it to buy yourself that happiness on the other side of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that's a big one. Yeah, actually, I got shivers thinking about it, man. Like just picturing, and I've done some similar things when I traveled to Morocco, and I saw kids out there up in the hills, like we're talking deep Morocco hills, and yeah, it's a whole. Doesn't take much to change the lives in micro ways, and it could be bigger too, and that's fine. But we can all do the micro thing if we think about it. Oh man, okay, this is good. this is exactly why
we're just getting started, bro. We're just getting started.
I know we are. Well, talk about the bigger why now, like consumer business. Like putting the business hat on, thinking of like the external look of what we do as a business and why that's so important. Talking about where we give, why we give, the mission, the impact, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
Yeah, the mission at Go Big to Give Big was really about, I want to inspire as many businesses as I can to add an impact initiative so that as they scale their revenue, so do they scale their impact. And in return, we can make the world a better place. So how do we get a bunch of small business owners collectively working together where everyone donates a little portion of their stuff? Imagine the impact we can make on the nonprofit sector. There's a bunch, this is what really started all of it, was that once I started donating this passive revenue to nonprofits from our portfolio, I realized, I was like, wait, if we have, let's just say 100 doors and we're donating $1,000 a month, in my circle of friends, there was 5,000 doors. Well, that's $50,000 a month. And then I was like, that's just my few friends. What if we went to a little bit outside and there's 100,000 doors and we're donating $1 million a month? That's a $12 million check to charity. Now, to the right charities, that's life-changing. Yeah. And that's when I realized that's just one thing. I started going into like, what if the mortgage brokers and real estate agents and accountants and lawyers and everyone just dipped in a little bit? I'm not talking to give your paycheck away. I'm talking about 10% or a few dollars from every transaction, whatever it looks like. So that's where that whole mission came from of Go Big to Give Big, was like, I believe that if we have entrepreneurs, we can go solve the nonprofit problem. Nonprofits during the pandemic couldn't raise money. That's right. Where I really saw the biggest growth, was that, wow, when their events got shut down and their $1 million event that they normally raise $1 million, they can't do it anymore. What happens? They're out of dough. So how do we as entrepreneurs make it so that nonprofits no longer have to go out and raise money, but now it also becomes part of your brand identity, which is where you want to go.
Yep.
So when we start attaching my brand to kids in sports, that's what I did in my real estate space. Well, what that allowed me to do is I didn't go sell real estate investments anymore. I went and sold, do you want to help me put more kids through organized sport? And you can do that by investing in our real estate portfolio because we donate $10 from every door that we buy. What I did is I created a human-to-human connection with people. I gave them something to be relatable. And that's when I started going into some of the statistics, because we had a lot of success with it. And we had a free meetup that we made paid, that we scaled from 30 people to 120 people on a monthly basis as soon as we started adding impact to it and stuff. And I was like, this stuff's crazy. Like, there's got to be some statistics out there that prove this. And that's when I started finding out this.
Hey, I'm going to pause the episode really fast and shout out another show that's on the podcast network over at HubSpot. It's the audio destination for business professionals. This is Mistakes That Made Me. It's hosted by Iman Ismail. She is interviewing successful business owners and talking about, hey, what are those mistakes? What are the failures? What are the things that you hate to talk about that we can all learn from? I mean, like, let's be honest. Do you like to talk about your mistakes? Probably not. Well, that's what she's talking about. And it's going to be there. It is there waiting for you to listen so you can learn from those lessons and learn how to get past them or navigate around those big boulders on your own journey to success. So go listen to Mistakes That Made Me wherever you get your podcasts. Are you tired of the hassle of building online sales funnels? You know, I get it. And you started your business for freedom and not to be chained to your laptop all day long. And thankfully, there is an all-in-one platform that makes this process super easy so you can start attracting customers online. It's a tool called Kartra, and it has every tool you need to grow. So every Kartra account comes stocked with a bunch of done-for-you campaigns that are designed, connected, and written for you. All you got to do is customize them to your liking, and you can launch a fully built sales funnel in minutes. So make marketing easy on yourself. Visit www.hustleandflowchart.com/Kartra and snag a free 30-day trial of Kartra. And again, that's hustleandflowchart.com/KARTRA.
89, this is from a Cone Consumer Report, 89% of consumers are more likely to buy from or work with an organization that talks about their impact. Well, Joe, you're a business guy. If I put you next to somebody and I say, here's your podcast and here's a podcast that donates, and you have to give one of them a 5-star review, which one are you going to choose? You're going to choose the one that usually donates. At least this is what the statistics say. 89% of people are going to check the box saying, I like the company more with that. All I'm trying to do is talk about attention right now. Well, you can take 89% more attention away from your competitors by talking about your impact. Well, that's kind of cool. So then I went deeper into it. And I started to find out that 80% of people remember the name of your brand more when they talk about your impact. So now all of a sudden I was like, well, when I talk about my impact, that's why I got so many referrals, was because everyone remembered at our organization, at least in Go Big to Give Big now, we donate $150 from every impact circle we sell. And for every 5 of the sprints that we sell, we go and support one nonprofit for free and all this stuff. That's what people are remembering. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I found the next stat, which said people are 4.5 times more likely to refer a brand if they talk about their impact. Wow. 91% of employees are happier with their employer if they talk about their impact. 78% of people are more likely to pay more for a brand if they know about your giving. And the last one is, this is the mind-blowing one, 95% of millennial females said they trust a brand more if they share about their impact. That's an insane statistic. 95%. I don't care who you are and what statistical world and how much you don't believe in stats. When you have 95% of millennial females checking a box saying, hey, if this company shared about their giving, I would trust them more.
Dude.
Well,
no brainer. Yeah.
That's when it became part of the tactical side of the business to me. That's when I really realized there was a big opportunity in the space. And when we look at trends, in 2010, we'd look at social media and we'd say, hey, social media is going to be a huge part of your business. You're going to need it in order to grow. People would laugh at you. They'd be like, yeah, right. It's social media. It's a social platform. Now, if you don't have social media, people are like, wait, you don't grow your business with social media? I believe it's going to be the same kind of trends because the numbers are so substantial. Yeah. That we're seeing this, consumers want this, that if you don't add impact to your business by 2030, whatever year it is, you're going to start being left behind. And people are like, wait, you don't talk about your impact? You don't use your business for good? Greedy capitalism is slowly going to get pushed away, where I believe, and this is my philosophy, if we look back in 30, 40 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to laugh at a time where we say, isn't it crazy that we were so greedy that we built businesses just for our own selves, that we didn't even have the guts or whatever it is to support the nonprofits of the world, the ones that are doing the impact in the world, because we're so greedy that we wanted to just do our businesses for ourselves. I think that's where we're going to go.
I think you're right, man. And you're seeing it percolate, especially millennials and younger. Yeah. And which are, I mean, let's be honest, it's always the new schools coming up, and they call the shots. And talk about social media, they're all over that, and they're calling the shots, and those stats don't wake anybody up. I mean, like, that's, I don't know what will,
Yeah.
to be honest. What's the other 5%? Like, it's, you got to do something. Then what comes to me is like, all right, well, this is a marketing campaign, but it's like, really, it's a campaign for everything you do. You know, you talk about it. You know, whenever you're like an elevator pitch, it's part of your mission, the full thing that you do in company wide. Like I said, it changes team culture. It's not even on the external, it's internal. Think about the buy-in of all the folks around you. Like, they're probably not going to be job shopping around, you know, if they feel like they're doing good within the work they're doing as well.
This is it. I'll jump in a bit of the buyer's journey now, which I know you want to briefly touch on, but it's like, so again, I just became like, I'm a student of this. I'm obsessed with it. I love the concept. I love it. It's everything I do. So I started studying more and more of like, what can this do for the brand and where does it fall off and why do entrepreneurs drop off and stuff? One of the things that we found is those stats are true. 95% of millennial females want to work with brands or trust brands more, when they share about their impact. You know what's also true? If you mess that up and you try and share about your impact, but you do it bad, or you sound like a used car salesman, or you're doing it in the wrong ways, they're also less likely to trust you. So one of the things that we found is that people were so scared to talk about their impact because they said, oh, we don't want to come off as a used car salesman, or we don't want it to just be a marketing ploy. And that's the problem. People look at this as a marketing ploy to get more people into their business. I look at it as a core value of who you are as a human. So when we show up into the business, I don't just say, cool, how are we going to get more clients for you by marketing? I start by saying, Joe, if you can make impact in one sector in the world, is it child sex trafficking, water, food, cancer, whatever, what is it? And we start diving down. We find out the root cause of what they want to support. Then we build the brand culture from that root cause because now it's authentic. They actually care about making an impact from it. From there, we talk about the buyer's journey. So then it's like, cool, how do we share that on social media? Start sharing a few of your stories on social media of why you actually want to make an impact in the world. Then we attach it to your website. So when they go to your website, imagine 89% of people staying longer on your website as soon as they scroll down and see something about impact. Great. Now we've captured their attention and we send them to an impact page where you share more about your impact. Now we've had 2 touch points with them. Well, then they get on a sales call with you. And on the sales call, you say, you know what, Joe? I've absolutely loved chatting with you. And one of the most amazing things about working with our brand is that we do X, Y, and Z for every time we sell A, B, and C. So you're not only going to get the product you really want, but you're also going to be joining our mission on helping us create a bigger impact in the world. Now they've just felt it. They're like, oh, I saw it in your social, I saw it on your website, and now you're really living it. You're saying it. And this is when it gets really good, is then we go into once the transaction happens, how do you send them the email that says, thank you for just buying our products. You just helped us make this impact in the world. And then you hit them one last time in a newsletter because we build out your newsletter for it so that your newsletter now talks about it. And I have a whole process of how we go to nonprofits and pull photos and videos and stuff and use that to market and promote.
The impact. Yeah.
To actually see it, feel it, touch it. Well, now you can't tell me if a millennial female goes to your social media, hits your website, goes through the sales process and gets touched, they're not going to become your biggest fan. They're going to stand on the rooftops shouting and saying, oh my God, I want to be a part of this brand and their products are amazing. That's great. That's what we're seeing with Tom's Shoes and Bomba Socks and all these other companies is they did such a good job of making people understand the impact and feel it and see it. That's why they had so many people raving about their products. That's what I'm trying to replicate now in every business because that's the reason why people don't is they're scared. They're scared to talk about their impact because if they do it wrong, it leads them down a different direction.
That's it, man. And it starts with us, right? Like this whole thing, it's almost selfishly starts with us. It started, I'm going all the way back to like starting business or any new project. A lot of times money focused or at least like break to even or whatever target goal. And then it's like, oh, wait, hold on, wake up call. Giving and doing this bigger impact feels better. And then it slowly turns into it's everything you do. And why would you stop it? Because like it literally is a multiplier, it's a force multiplier of good. And I'm thinking of referrals as well. The marketing brain of like, okay, the referral engine just goes nuts everywhere, which is the best form of marketing. And it's hard to predict, but it's like, if you're literally living that everything you do, then you can't stop that either. And you're getting inbound, probably the best possible folks to work with you or at least follow you. Then again,
So
cycle
I
continues.
built my entire business around referrals. I don't even market anywhere. And I get the
Same.
best intros. People are like, you have to work with Randy. Obviously, mine's a little bit different because I'm in the impact space and I do it.
Yeah.
But when I refer my friends out, my friend's got a merchant processing company and he calls it the everyday human. And what he does is he goes around to all these local businesses and he found a way to get cheaper merchant processing. Basically, he just reduces his overhead or his profit on it. And he says, hey, if I save you 10%, would you donate 5% and save 5%? And everyone's like, well, of course, I'm saving 5% and I get the tax write off for the other 5%. That makes sense. He's like, amazing. Yeah. He makes them sign the contract, and now he's going into all these businesses with his merchant processing and helping them reduce their overhead and donating it. And we're seeing that just become this like huge movement of how easy it is to just make this happen and duplicate it anywhere. So that's just another example of how it becomes part of us and our businesses and our brands, that we can take that and use it anywhere.
You really can, and it seems like such a gap. And I'm sure there's always been giving, and there's so many ways to apply it. But you literally can disrupt industries by doing that. Probably get preferential deals, like kind of similar to that, but then go somewhere so you have a bigger impact and reason why someone would choose you over another.
Totally.
Partnerships. I'm thinking of all the different ways that you can arrange partnerships, even if you have nothing right now. But it's purely the way that you want to approach the world and business. Like, you'll get an open door if someone wanted to talk.
Yeah. And where I was going with that, Joe, was like, I talk about that guy's merchant processing all the time. That's like,
Yeah,
it's just so part of me now. It's like anyone I talk to is like, oh, do you have a merchant processor? My buddy here, he'll hook you up with a 5% discount, and he's going to help you donate 5% of the money as well. So you get a 10% discount, you donate 5, and you save 5. And they're like, well, that kind of sounds like a no-brainer. Of course. Yeah. Do you want his number? Absolutely. Well, now I'm introducing him to people that are already like, I've already vetted them, I've already told them, and they already want to work with him because of the impact that he's doing. And he's supporting some really cool cancer initiatives, and I usually share about it. But that's how we're building that referral process in that space, where we see that, 4.5 times more likely to be referred and 80% more likely to remember the name of the company and things like that. So it is building the biggest, like I said, I share it often. It's like, do you want your customers shouting your brand from the rooftops about how great you are? You can have the best product in the world, but if you're equivalent to somebody else, you're the same. But when you get your customers talking about your impact, you're out there donating, you get your staff involved, you get your whole team bought into it, you just create this engine of really incredible stuff. The problem is, Joe, everyone says, I'm going to do impact. They start it for 2 or 3 months, and then they go, this doesn't really do a difference. It doesn't. That's not what it's about. It's about building it as your core value and ethos for your entire business. This isn't just a marketing ploy. This is how you do business. And that's the difference, is people get really upset really quickly. They're like, oh, I didn't see this huge spike in my stuff. Well, of course not. People need to trust you. They need to see it. They need to feel it. And you need to build a client base that believes in it like you do. That's where we start to see it. So it's a 6-month, 8-month kind of like minimum starting to actually see that impact. But imagine in 10 years from now, when your brand is only talking about impact, you got some pretty good runway there.
This is where I was kind of thinking the maybe later half of this episode now can kind of talk about exactly that. And I know you have, the 30-day impact sprint that you're doing with folks. And it's, so the right folks would probably just, maybe you can briefly talk about that and then know that really what I want to get to here is, like you said, the core values. It's like, what's the starting point? Now someone gets it, they hear the stats, they hear the benefits, and maybe thinking of how to implement. Now it's like, how do you embody it so you have it for consistency, longevity of your brand or a new thing you're doing? So you don't get that drop off and then you get that guilt feeling and you probably negative stuff from the outside. Not a good combo. So walk us through the sprint, what you're doing there, and then talk about this.
The 30-day sprint was generated because I consulted so many companies and I spent so much time teaching people how to do it. And at the very end, I'd say, so, have you actually built the impact and found a charity and vetted them and got the things? And every single 100% of the time, people would be like, sorry, man, it's just so much work. I'm like, you paid me to walk you through how to do it. That's when I realized there's a big gap between the impact that people want to create and their ability to execute on it. Everyone wants to make impact, but they have a hard time executing on it. So I was like, well, look, instead of doing these huge programs and making it daunting, what if we just did a 30-day sprint, simple, clean, and easy? We came in and we took care of all the problems that I found. And the problems that I found were people didn't know how to vet charities. So what if we just found you a charity partner? And then people didn't know what giving initiative to talk about. Are they going to be one for one? Are they going to do a percentage of? Are they going to volunteer? Like, what is it going to be? So we create that impact initiative for them. We build that whole buyer's journey process for you, the email campaigns, the messaging, the marketing, the story. We call it the client's impact journey. And we share all of that. And then we put all that together in a package and we say, here's your full encompassing package mixed with some sales stuff, all that in 30 days done for you. Here you go. And people are going like, whoa, now that I have all this, I can execute on it. It's already there. It's already in my business and it feels great. So that's what we were able to do with our 30-day sprint and why it's so powerful, because so many people give up on the impact because it isn't easy. People think, oh, this sounds, you and I can sit here and chat about like, oh, it's really cool, that impact, and it sounds really easy. But when I share about everything that we have to go through to get there, people are like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. I know it is. It's no different than bringing a marketing company into your business or launching a new program. You have to be committed to it. So we created a done for you program. And what that does now is the biggest thing is that creates the brand ethos, which is where you want to go. It talks about who you are as a company going forward. And oftentimes I find most people that are investing in us, if they have employees, one of the common themes they say is, I'm investing in you because I want to show my employees that we're about more than just making profit here. And they're like, we want everyone to buy in on it. And once the employees start buying in and everything it becomes this whole company culture from top to bottom of who you are. And that's why we typically work with the founder, because once we get that story of giving out of them, it changes everything. Everyone lights up, everyone gets more excited, they feel different, they act different. And if you can take them out and volunteer somewhere or do some sort of impact like you've seen, like I've seen, it changes who you are and your perspective on why you want to make money. Like when you ask the question, hey, why do you want to make $10 million? I don't know, so I can live free. Great. Well, could you leave free with $1 million and donate $9 million and imagine the kids that you could go put through organized sport, because that's truly the impact that you want to make, and people just change. It's like, oh my God, yes. And I said, imagine the employees, imagine the culture, imagine your clientele, imagine everybody coming on board with you to complete this mission. What would that do for you? And all of a sudden it's like, I'm in, like, we have to do this now. There's no getting back. And it's almost like that feeling of guilt. Like once you agree to it, you're like, oh no, if I don't do this, I'm going to feel super guilty about it because I just really want to do it now. So
just put it in my brain and now I can't shake it. And that's a good thing. Yeah. It honestly, it should light everyone up because we know we have the mechanisms, we have the know-how. I mean, like, let's be honest. The fact that you're listening to this podcast, you're here at this time listening to Randy as well. And everything you've done in business, you're unique. And it's like, that's 1%. I don't know. I'm pulling that out, but it's like, it's a very tiny sliver of the world and what people are paying attention to. A lot of folks are very, selfish. And I'm not saying that's negative, but it's like for survival or they're just starting out and they're not even thinking of this expansive impact kind of mindset. So the fact that you're here, you have the ability to make that change and turn it on.
And imagine this, Joe. There's this really cool thing called the law of reciprocity, right? Everyone says, oh, the law of reciprocity. Once I take something, I give something, right? If somebody gives me something, I'll give it back. I flip it and I say, what if you had to be a good steward of the money first before you got given everything? So once we show that we're willing to give and we're willing to step out and make that first step, that's when we open the floodgates on the other end. Call it the universe, call it whatever you want. But I believe that if you go out and you initiate first and say, hey, even when I have nothing, I'm going to donate and support, then that shows to the universe, to the law of energy, whatever you want to call it, I'm willing to put this out here even when I'm in my worst, even when I'm just starting, even when I don't have anything going on. Now I'm willing to show that when you give me more, I'm still going to continue to do that. And Tony Robbins is a great example of that, where, there's a story where he saw a son and his wife sitting there, or son and mom doing dinner. And he walked up and said, hey, why don't you buy your date dinner tonight? Gave the kid the last few dollars, walked out the door and had nothing. A few days later, he closed some of the biggest contracts and became Tony Robbins. And he has a quote that says, I promise you, if you give when you have nothing, scarcity will leave your life forever. And that's how we reprogram our brains to believe that if you say, I will give once I have more money, is that not a scarcity mindset statement? that says, I don't have enough to give. But if you say, hey, I'm willing to give and I'm willing to just jump on a podcast and match donations, well, great. Now that's going to draw in the right people that want to work with me because they see I have abundance.
Bro, that's it. And it's pure abundance. And that's exactly, this is where I want to wrap it, because this is a perfect ending point, man. And Tony Robbins is a great example. There's a book that comes to mind too, is The Trick to Money is Having Some, Stuart Wilde, which is it's all energy. And when you open up the floodgates and get into that abundance feeling, because it is a feeling, it has to start internally, and then you start acting on that. Everything changes. Everything changes, and you don't need all the money in the world. You don't need any money at all. So
I'll leave everyone with this, one of my favorite quotes, and I it's not even a quote, it's just something that I say, but I believe that the universe doesn't care how much you give, it cares that you give. The universe doesn't care how much you give, it cares that you give. And I found that when I donated that $50 to those children in the sex trafficking thing, everyone can afford $50. Not everyone can afford a $50,000 donation, but I still have a bigger impact than some of the people that donated the $50,000. It's not how much you give, it's that you give.
Bam. Randy, appreciate you, man. This was one of my favorite episodes in a very long time, honestly. And yeah, tell the folks, tell me where we should go for the next step to follow along with what you're doing, but also if anybody's down to do the Impact Sprint, the 30-day jam with you, let them know.
Yeah, you just go big to getbig.com. It's got everything. We have something called the Impact Circle, which is just a network of some of the most philanthropic entrepreneurs on the planet. So people that want to get around, more people that are bragging about the impact they're making more than the cars they own or the houses they own. And our Impact Sprint is on there as well if you want to get on that. And we have the Go Big to Get Big podcast on there as well. And if you want to follow me on socials at all, LinkedIn and Facebook are kind of the two that I put most of my content on. So if you hop over there, day after day, I'm just talking about different giving initiatives and how you can use giving to make a bigger impact, and just love supporting anyone that wants to become a impact entrepreneur.
Brother, I appreciate you so much, what you're doing, and guarantee I'm going to hear some feedback here, and leave those reviews, y'all.
Absolutely. So. Thank you so much for having me on, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.